Hello, my name is Keith, aka LoLByTheNumbers, and welcome to another video analysis from 2014 League of Legends World Championships. Once again, this is not a shoutcast, it is a video analysis that will be focusing on macro level strategy play rather than micro, and we'll assume that you have already watched this match, so be prepared for spoilers if you haven't watched it, and I hope the information is valuable to you. Alright, as we move into picks and bans, we see Zilean Rengar Thresh banned, Zilean being very standard, Rengar being played well by Edward Gaming. Rengar throws a lot of chaos into games, and Samsung White, they're just taking out one of EDG's strong ones. They feel they can easily take out any of the standard junglers in play, just letting it go. Edward Gaming are going with the same Yasuo Kassadin ban as from game 1, as well as Alistar, as he is extremely strong at this portion of League of Legends patch. We do see the trifecta of top laners picked up right away. Maokai Ryze, 2 of them. Maokai just being all around strong. Going into the Ryze matchup, Ryze does have the bully potential in this lane. Picks up his Mono Crystal, constantly throws Qs at Maokai. Tries to push him back, keep him out of the tower. However, he can't really kill Maokai. Maokai is able to sustain, he just deals with the damage Ryze puts out, gets his passive heal, and once, say, level 4 or 5 comes around, Maokai is easily able to throw his saplings, use his Q, and just wave clear and then push Ryze back, especially since he'll start to be low at that point. It's really just a scaling matchup. Both are going to build up their mana items, their Rod of Ages, and go from there. In terms of ganks, Maokai is a bit safer as he'll most likely be behind his tower, whereas Ryze is going to be the one pushing. Maokai provides great CC for the jungler ganks, so we'll see that happen. His only worry will be is if he's pushed up towards Ryze's tower, then if Kha'Zix is near, they can get the kill onto Maokai. For our second wave, we see Janna Twitch come in. This is a combo that Samsung White like to use. They really like to give Imp that extra AD and let him do his thing. Janna makes a very strong showing here at Worlds, as does Twitch, and it's a pretty solid lane combination. Normally we see it in the 2v1 because they both can be bullied out in lane. However, in this matchup we will see the 2v2 because Edward Gaming respond by picking up Nami Kog'Maw. This makes the 2v2 lane fairly even. Neither Kog'Maw nor Twitch can bully very hard. Twitch is able to have a better level 1 advantage, especially with Janna. Janna's shield plus expunge will do a lot more damage than Kog'Maw is able to deal since he picks out his auto attack skill first. It'll take him 2 or 3 hits to knock out the Janna shield. And that will give Twitch the necessary time he needs to get off his attacks and make use of the Janna shield and provide greater pressure at level 1 as well as in level 2. Once level 3 and 4 come in, Nami starts to take over the lane. Kog'Maw gets higher range. The auto attack plus Nami's E, Tidecaller's Blessing, is great for getting harassed onto Twitch with his low range, as well as Kog'Maw gets more all-in potential with his double damage spells. Nami's also able to provide better CC than Janna. A good bubble is easy to land on an immobile Twitch. This lane really starts to transfer into EDG's favor as the match goes on. So, Samsung White should look for the 2v1, but they don't really need to. They can go for the 2v2 and just fight it out, go even, use Janna's shield really well, and take the lead early, and keep pressuring from there. They should be able to stay in the lane up until the level 6 point, where Twitch will want to start doing his roaming, going and getting his assassinations elsewhere, because then it'll be much harder with the disengage of Nami from her ultimate and the poke from Kog'Maw. We then see Samsung White pick up Fizz and Jarvan. Jarvan is a great pick into Kog'Maw as well as into Ryze for a little bit. Both have no natural escape. Anytime Kog'Maw's flash is down, Jarvan can easily flag and drag into Cataclysm, lock him up, Samsung White's bottom lane can kill him easy. The Fizz pickup is a little bit more of Samsung White showing off, picking Fizz, blindly can be disastrous. However, Edward Gaming pick up Fizz, or not Fizz, pick up Ziggs into Fizz. And this is a pretty decent matchup for Ziggs. He can easily throw bombs, farm, poke out Fizz, outfarm him. He should be leading the farm, especially once Chalice and Blue Buff come in. He just constantly spams the lane and pushes Fizz into his tower. Has to be very worried about getting close. Should probably be taking barrier to make sure he can survive Fizz level 6. Good use of the satchel will get him away. When that happens, he can time it so that he gets the hop back, and then the fish hits at the end of the hop back, so he still gets distance during the slow period of Fizz's ultimate. However, Ziggs should just look for long range farming and try and keep Fizz down. Any incidental damage he can do will be great. He should also try and take advantage from level 1, throwing bombs at him and auto attacks as much as possible to get him to burn through his flask. That's the matchup in middle. If Fizz gets ahead, it's really going to be hard for Ziggs, just because he's not a duelist, whereas Fizz is. Also, that's good. I do like the Ziggs pick into Fizz, and I really like it in their EDG's team composition. Going back to the 2v2 lanes, I really would have liked to see EDG perform the lane swap in this one. Find the 2v1 lane, and not because of the lane matchup, but because of the team compositions. EDG has crafted a very tower push, siege, poke composition. Kha'Zix, Ziggs, and Kog'Maw, great range at level 6, can siege at a turret, just continually throw down pressure, and whittle down Samsung White and keep them underneath the tower. That's how EDG wins this game. They group as 5, go to a turret, and siege. They don't fight, they don't go for kills, they just go for objectives. Nami will provide the disengage, and Ryze can stop Jarvan or Twitch or Fizz when they try and go in. One rune prism and the whole team just runs away. Back up. Don't let them engage. Use Kha'Zix slow from his evolved spike rack. Just constantly poke pressure at the turrets. Keep Samsung White defending and on the back foot, and never actually do a team fight unless you've got a large HP advantage from the poke. To facilitate this, EDG just need to stay safe throughout the laning phase. If Samsung White get ahead, they are a brawl team, they are a fight team, they have engage. They will win if they get ahead, and EDG will not have a way to come back. EDG have to make sure not to fall behind in the laning phase, and transition fairly quickly into their poke. Right about Kog'Maw level 6 would be a great time to just start to drop the laning phase, push middle, because Samsung White do not have wave clear. They have absolutely no wave clear, aside from Maokai saplings, which aren't going to do very much. To facilitate this, I would have EDG run a 2v1. Send Kog'Maw Nami top, or place wards, make sure you know where Samsung White's going. Ryze will do fine in the 2v1. He can also do the double jungle with Kha'Zix. There's ways to keep them. It'll go even between Maokai and Ryze. It'll allow Kog'Maw to get his farm, get into that Sheen phage. They can fast push the top turret, take it out, move bottom. That would be my ideal situation. Run the 2v1, fast push the top turret with a 4v0, and then send Kog'Maw Nami to the bot lane for the 2v2. This will give them the levels to fight evenly with Samsung White, bypassing the problem area of level 1 and 2 in the 2v2, and give them the item advantage when they go down there. Ryze will also be pretty safe. At that point, Maokai will be much more likely to push with his AoE abilities, and keeping Ryze safer. They could do this. At this point, they can wait until the level 6s come into play, or maybe the first items. Go for that siege in the middle. Watch out for the dragon. Don't worry too much about it. It'll be much easier to keep Samsung White on the back foot at the mid turret. With no wave clear, with Ziggs with the blue buff, it would be a great point. Actually, the second blue buff, sorry, even if you need to delay it, let him get it, then he can provide great poke and wave clear at the middle. Kog'Maw can provide harassment, activate its W for hits on the tower. Ryze can also be there for protection. The only thing Samsung White would be able to do is to get the engage. They cannot wave clear, they cannot poke back, they would have to get the full-on engage. To stop this, EDG will need to get good wards on the sides, as well as making sure to keep pinks so they can find Twitch. However, if Twitch does decide to be in the engagement, he is the sacrificial lamb in this situation, and EDG can turn on him with Ziggs, Kog'Maw, and Ryze Burst, and probably just nuke him and get out still. Nuke him, toss the Nami wave, back up, then return to the fight. This is how EDG wins. With their team, they have to siege, they have to turret push. They can't fight out in the open, they can't win 1v1s. Ryze and Maokai will go even, Fizz will destroy Ziggs, and Twitch and Janna, with the right opening, can jump onto Kog'Maw, blow him up when Twitch uses his flash to dodge Nami, ultimate, or bubble. There's the ability for Samsung White's lanes to all win in the skirmish and small fight areas, especially in the assassination with Fizz. So, I would recommend EDG to do a very, very early group, around the 8-9 minute mark. I know it's not popular to drop laning phase so quick, but you could easily, since there's no wave clear on Samsung White and there's so much poke and some good disengage on EDG, they could force down the middle turret at the 8 or 9 minute mark really quickly. Maybe 2 or 3 waves, 4 max. Shouldn't be a problem for them. Should already have some damage too. Ziggs is, constantly keeping Fizz back. That's the way I would go, and the way I feel EDG should go. Be safe, take the 2v1, fast push. However, they don't do it, and this is a problem. They go into the standard lanes, and the same thing could still work, but by doing the split push and doing a fast push, you get your team some gold early. You get a small advantage, and this is really what poke comps need. Is they need just a little window of advantage to use, and then they keep using it. You take out the top turret, you've already taken out an objective. That means you can focus on mid, you can focus on bottom. Suddenly you've got all the outer turrets down, and then you can push middle again, push a side lane. You give yourself the ability to move through the map and control the pace of the game. So, having talked about EDG, let me move over to Samsung White. Samsung White, they kind of go even or win all their lanes, except for middle. Their weakest point is going to be early on in middle with Fizz. However, we see he's done a great job. He's going even with Ziggs, which you don't think should be happening. He should have been bullied. His tower should have taken damage. Ziggs is just playing it quite safely and letting Fizz get all his CS without worry. However, as the level 6s, game goes in, first item, Sheens, Lich Banes, Blade of the Rune King. Samsung White has assassination potential, skirmish potential, and 5v5 potential. Twitch Fizz are great at finding picks, they're great at picking people out, and just coming in from unexpected angles and unexpected places and assassinating somebody. That's what they do. That's what they should do. Get the kills, get the roams, pick people off. And when it comes into the 5v5s, or actually before that, they also have very high skirmish potential. Jarvan, Maokai, Fizz, as a 3-man squad, are way stronger than Ryze, Kha'Zix, Ziggs. They could bully every single objective in this game. They can go bully every red buff, every blue buff, focus on dragging, get things at towers. They have the ability to, they have the mobility, the damage, and tankiness in Maokai. They have lockdown. They have what they need for a skirmish, essentially. Fizz will make sure Ziggs can't really fight. Kha'Zix can't get enough damage to knock out Maokai, neither can Ryze. Jarvan has the lockdown, and Fizz deals tons of damage. So all they have to do is, those 3-man can really bully, with Twitch just providing assassination in places. As a 5-man team, they have a much stronger force. They have Jarvan and Maokai going to roll over the other team, just going to jump in, try and split up Ziggs' abilities to do AoE damage. You get Maokai in the front line with Jarvan, forcing Ziggs to focus them, while Twitch can unload from range. Or from his assassination flank or wherever he's doing. Fizz follows in after Jarvan and Maokai, and this allows him to sow a lot of chaos and put tons of pressure, especially onto Kog'Maw and whatnot. They have the frontline wall as well as the damage. They have the ability to control the 5v5 fights. So, in terms of that, Samsung are going to win. All they have to do in this game to win is they just get ahead. They get a little bit ahead, they win. So we all see Siege poke-comps, they fall apart when they get behind, and that's essentially how this is going to go. If Samsung White can move around the map, get a couple assassinations, get a couple picks, get Fizz and Twitch rolling, or Maokai either, any one of the three lanes rolling will give Samsung White what they need to win, just on that champion alone. So they just need to look for opportunities, go even through the laning phase for the first couple levels, and then try and make plays, especially with Jarvan. And once he hits 6 and whatnot. That's that. Here we see Twitch. He hits the level 6 right away. He goes in. This is important here. He knows this match, they lose in the long term. But he hits 6 first and he goes in. EDG can't stop him. They can't fight back. They back off. It doesn't result in anything, but it's a good plan. In some other situations, it could work very well. Here's the point. Maokai and Ryze, they have a good fight. Maokai has outlasted him. We're about to see the first roam come in from Fizz. And this is where Ryze gets a little overconfident. Maybe he's trying to wait for something or whatnot. He's half HP, he's low, he's stuck at his tower. Fizz has a Sheen. And we'll see him roam up through the double pink wards. And Ryze just ignores him. He doesn't respect it at all. See Ziggs doing a good job here. And then here we go. Here goes Fizz. You can watch him. He goes up through a pink ward. Kha'Zix is here. He even pings it. They go up into a second pink ward, and Ryze is still sitting here. Ryze is 2/3 HP. Doesn't respect the fact that Maokai can dive and that Fizz is got a Sheen already. Just blows him up. If you want to go back for a quick second, you can look and see that while they're doing the top, they are also attacking the dragon. And there's a reason Samsung White are able to pull this off. When Fizz went top, they saw where Kha'Zix was. They also knew that Samsung White's team had backed earlier than EDG's, and they were on their way back to the lane, whereas EDG's bot lane was just backing. They had just finished backing. So Jarvan, Twitch, Janna, they rush the dragon because they know exactly where Kha'Zix is. They know that Fizz is all alone and that the bot lane is back. So they essentially would have been into a 3v1 if Ziggs had tried to fight. But he doesn't. They get out clean free. A lot of this could have been, both of those could have been prevented if Ryze had just backed away when seeing Fizz. He could have got out. He would have been able to have his TP to go help Ziggs fight off the dragon. Instead, EDG at Samsung White get first blood and a dragon, and this is what starts the end of the game for EDG. As a poke team, they've already fallen behind. They've lost first blood, and it's gone towards the tanky member of Samsung White. This is a problem because tanky members are the ones who really stop poke teams. Samsung White, they try to make a play, not quite in range right there. Wasted flash. Good of Ryze to use his ultimate as soon as he saw the flash get out to get the range. And here's where we see EDG's bot lane sort of winning the fight, right? They did good damage, half HP to both Janna and Twitch. The only reason they backed off is because Maokai went to TP, and that caused Kog'Maw to run away to use his flash. If they hadn't backed off, Maokai would have followed up, would have gotten the kill anyways. But what they see is that Maokai's TP caused Kog'Maw's flash Jarvan comes in with Cataclysm. It's the first time you use it. As I said earlier, the moment Kog'Maw's flashes down, easy kill for Samsung White. Jarvan runs, as soon as the call is made that it flashes down, that's exactly where Jarvan goes without hesitation. Kill for bot lane. So now we have Samsung White with a 2-kill lead, and it's been on both the initiators. Jarvan and Maokai got the kills. Having the initiators with the gold is really harmful to poke teams. Right now we're running into the 9 level mark for top lanes. For solo lanes, it's 10. I really would have loved to have seen EDG transition into their poke composition now. Jarvan's ultimate is down. They could have ran straight middle. After that is 5. Gone and pushed for the turret. Samsung White would have had no way to engage. It was an opportunity. The reason I really like to see poke siege comps start early, like at the 8 or 9 minute mark, and not at the 14, 15, 16 minute mark, is because they have to be ahead. Poke teams don't work when behind, and a lot of times they just falter before they can even start. You craft this team composition, but you give up a few kills in the laning phase, you give up a dragon or a turret, and that's already makes the game 5 times harder for you. Playing from behind as a siege comp is never fun, and I'm sure most players have had to deal with it at one time or another. That's why using a 2v1 strategy and a 2v1 lane swap at the start allows you to do a fast push, take a turret already by the 5 minute mark, get some gold to your team, switch off, go defend your other turret, wait until about 8 or 9 minutes, get the blue buff, siege out a middle as 5, start up that siege as 5. If the other team doesn't respond by bringing their whole team to fight with you, you clearly have the advantage, and you take the turret, and you go take the second tier turret too, potentially, depending on how the other team reacts. However, as a poke team, you really have to be doing things all the time. And if you go back and watch Kaboom vs. Alliance Game 2, which I did a video analysis of, you'll see how a siege team really plays. And even playing when kills behind. Kaboom do a great job of it there. Yeah. So if EDG had done the 2v1, could have pushed middle, taken it with the lack of wave clear, gone taken bottom, potentially had enough gold to take dragon after that, and then they just keep pushing it. They keep rotating from objective to objective to objective. They don't look for kills, they don't worry about them, they just go for the objectives and earn the gold lead that way. Up top we saw Ryze. He flashed, he wanted to dodge the knockup of the fish, and he was hoping Jarvan would use his flag and drag to get in range. However, Ryze was trapped. It was just going to run into a turret. If Jarvan had used his flag and drag earlier, Ryze could have TP'd out. He had a reason to use his flash, but at the same time he had nowhere to go, so it was kind of pointless. So at this point in the match, you don't really want to call it over, as EDG can still make plays, but on teams of even skill, the match is really in Samsung White's composition. And knowing these teams, it's uneven skill. Samsung White is definitely the better team individually, as well as together. So it's almost over for EDG. If they wanted to hope, they really have to move into their siege comp. They have to stop this split push that they're doing. You know, they're still playing the laning phase right now, and their comp is no good at it. Fizz can go and get easy ganks. Twitch can get assassinations. Jarvan and Maokai have the engagements in small skirmishes. EDG need to get out of this laning phase mentality and work their 5 group. They have Kog'Maw with his Trinity Force. They have their Ryze with his Rod of Ages, and they have Fizz with his Athenes. They have their first items. There's no reason for them to still be here. Very good play by Samsung White. Fizz gets caught, or Fizz gets ganked, but he turns it around. Jarvan goes in, gets the kill. They turn a 3v1 into a 1-for-1 trade when Jarvan goes in and sacrifices his life for it. That's the strength of Samsung White's team in the skirmishes. They're just superior in them. That's all there is to say. So EDG need to not fight that. At this point, we see Fizz has needlessly large rod and Lichbane. He has the ability to go 1v1 anyone on the map. He could split push, take out turrets, well, maybe not take out turrets, but put pressure, force people away. He has everything he needs to control the pace of the game. On top of this, Maokai has now picked up his Negatron cloak, which means he's able to fight against pretty much everyone on EDG's team fairly well on a 1v1, even against Kog'Maw, as he has good magic damage. And Twitch has his Blade of the Rune King. This will allow him to just roam and look for assassinations. If anyone on EDG is pushing too far, he can go get the kill all by himself. And Samsung White are doing it this time around. They're properly playing the split push, at least at the start. Fizz is out creating pressure on the bot lane. EDG have to deal with it, but they can't really. This is just a game of EDG being on the back foot and never playing their composition properly. And this is why I really want to talk about macro level in these videos. Most of us know how individual skill works, and occasionally we see some really great plays, like when the world first learned about the insect. But now the game is about these macro level decisions. And here's the problem. We see EDG, they're fighting over their blue buff, but they're not a good team at the 5v5 fights. They're not a good team at the skirmish, and they're behind. Samsung White whitewashed them. They get 4 kills, you'll see the next one coming up, and lose nothing. EDG just put themselves in this small corridor, making it a great place for Jarvan to get a Cataclysm, for Maokai to get the damage reduction of his ult, and for Twitch to get his spray and pray off. There was just no reason EDG should be fighting that. On the flip side, you have to also give understanding that they are behind, they are a poke comp, and if they let Samsung White roll over them, it just gets worse and worse. So they have to make plays. That just wasn't the place to make them. They really should just say screw it and push, see if they can get an advantage, or at the very least make the game end faster. At this point, any delays, they're just going to lose. They don't have hyper carry status ahead of them. Fizz, Twitch, Fizz way stronger than Ziggs, Twitch just as strong as Kog'Maw, Maokai just as strong as Ryze, and with EDG lacking a front line, everything's just in Samsung White's favor to win if nothing happens. So, EDG have to do something full-heartedly and drastic, and that would be playing to their team comp, just poke and siege. And I know I say it a lot, but that's essentially this whole match. You could stop watching. It's just going to be more of the same. ADG will make some good plays because Samsung White do get overconfident. So a great flash by Ryze over. Almost got Jarvan as well. But yeah, unless EDG didn't play their team comp. That's all there is to really say about this. They built a composition and then didn't play it. So Samsung White at this point, they can almost just play like a solo queue game. They can do whatever they want. If they want to close out the game fast, wait for the next dragon, and then just start pushing as 5. Go make plays as 5 or 4. Send Fizz off on his own lonesome. Be fine. See, he's even able to bully Ryze under a turret. If he waits around, if nobody came to help him and he waited around, he could have killed Ryze in his next combo. That's it. There's not a whole lot more to say. Yeah. So continue to watch Samsung White if you want. They'll continue their split push, do a 1-3-1, Twitch will roam around looking for assassinations while Maokai and Fizz take out turrets. About the time Maokai and Jarvan get their armor items will be when we really see them start to dive. This game should be over in the next 10 minutes or less, if played right. I guess I will talk about the bottom lane matchup a little bit more, as it's not one we see too often. We often see, as said before, Twitch going into the 2v1s because he's not a lane bully, he's quite weak in the lanes. However, this is countered by the fact that Kog'Maw is also not a lane bully, so they go pretty even. But Twitch Janna with Janna's shield are stronger at the level 1, at the level 2. It's really not until Nami gets her full combo that EDG's bot lane is able to fight evenly. Here's an example of Twitch just assassinating Samsung White, constantly putting pressure on all lanes and just drawing EDG into bad plays. Well, warding plays really by vision control. And that's what happens here. Samsung White take vision control at top jungle, baiting Baron, just looking for opportunities. That's it. Here they find one. It's really quite aggressive. Jarvan almost gets killed. It only works because they're so far ahead. Otherwise it could have turned bad. But when you're ahead, you can make those plays. Back to the bot lane. Now Samsung White go take Baron, and it's essentially free. The only hope is a hero steal by Kha'Zix, but we have Janna running interference. Samsung White take Baron. Now they can push to their heart's content. Take Dragon, shop, brute force down the base. That's all they need to do. It would be best done on the bottom lane. Anytime you have Baron, bottom lane is really your best bet, as long as you can keep the other team from rushing down your middle. That way you have their bottom inhibitor down for the next Baron and whatnot. It allows a lot of pressure that way. We see Samsung White, they got a little greedy. Instead of going from Baron to Dragon and out, they went into EDG's blue area, tried to get the blue buffs, team split up a bit, they got caught, EDG get 2 kills and take Dragon. Samsung White, they're just being a bit greedy, and it was not necessary at all. They could have taken Dragon, backed, bought their items, gone forward, won the game. They're still ahead, they still got the Baron buff, they'll still get their items, same thing will happen. So it's not a real big loss, but it is something that they gave up to EDG that they didn't need to. It's about an extra 2,000 gold to EDG. So while we wait for that to happen, going back to the bot lane, around levels 3 and 4, Kog'Maw Nami will really start to pull ahead of Twitch Janna. They have burst in Kog'Maw if he can line up his Q, get his W and his E all hit on Twitch, as well as having good CC and an easy ability to set it up with Nami slow, bubble Twitch, and win. The best thing to do is to make sure that they knock off the Janna shield really quickly or get the bubble up when it hits. Just that way they can really shut down Twitch's ability. They can also just choose to long range poke at level 3 or 4 when Kog'Maw picks up his second level in his auto attack range skill. Throw on the slow from Nami, let Kog'Maw take a couple shots, back off, whittle them down. They have the sustain advantage, the poke advantage. Not quite the all-in advantage, but if done right, they can win it. Once level 6 comes into play in this matchup, it really turns into EDG's favor a lot. However, if Twitch gets there early, right away, he can try and go for the surprise all-in right at level 6, because it does have huge all-in potential, especially if they can get it to the level 5 of EDG. But after that, once 6 hits, Kog'Maw just pokes, he gets his Sheen or his Phage, and they just get a lot of damage onto Twitch. Just constantly whittle down, constantly poke. Wait for an opportunity. If Twitch tries to go all in, you got the double CC of Nami and a good burst from Kog'Maw. After that, Twitch vs Kog'Maw ends up becoming a very even matchup. Both have good burst, and whoever's ahead in items should win the trade, as long as Kog'Maw can react fast enough to Twitch showing up for the assassination attempts. Here we see Samsung White are taking too much time, unnecessarily so. The Baron is almost over. It's got 20 seconds left. After that Dragon fiasco, they just took way too long. However, they're so far ahead. Fizz is a beast. He just dives so deep, kills him. And this is the problem with poke siege comps, as showcased every time they're played. Great flash by Janna, by the way, to knock Ryze out. Flashy, unnecessary, but cool to watch. Yep, this is the problem with poke and siege comps. When they fall hard, especially against any kind of front line, double front lines especially. And if you have sort of a melee assassin for that third person to sow chaos in the fights, that's even worse for them. Now with the middle inhibitor down, Samsung White have about 2 minutes to Baron. They really don't need to wait for it. They could just go back, shop, and then rush up bottom lane. There's no reason for them to let up any of the pressure. They just showed how strong they are, even at a deep base dive going all the way to the Nexus turrets. They got several more kills. They just need to clear the waves, manage them back, push again. Go straight to bottom lane would be my suggestion. That's it. EDG do try and make a solid play. I mean, at this point they have to do something, so they're going for a crazy kill way down the lane. It does backfire, and now Samsung White have an easy path to the win. You can't really fault EDG for trying that. They have to try something. They have to get gold where they can, and that's one way to do it. You go do something crazy. They're way out down the lane, trying to kill Twitch, trying to buy themselves some time, give themselves an advantage. But easy backfire. Not much else to say. They had to try something. It does get Samsung White a bit overconfident. They do dive past turrets. They dive past the top tier 2 turret all the way to the top inhibitor. They do trade 2 for 2 and die. It does allow the minions in the middle to take out 2 Nexus turrets, and Twitch does finish off the top turret. So, playing around, but still gets them good advantages. Like I said before, this game could have probably been over by now. Maybe 5 minutes ago, maybe 2 minutes ago or something. EDG do have good clear and zigs, but it was just too late. There just wasn't enough with how strong Maokai Jarvan were. And here we go, see Twitch 1v1. Nami misses her bubble, and that's it. Twitch does a good job of using his move speed with his Q, with his Blade of the Rune King, and with his Ghost Blade to dodge. He's constantly orb walking and making it hard for Nami. When somebody has like 500 move speed, it is kind of hard to hit bubbles. Nevertheless, if she had hit it, he would have died, but it's just a testament to how far Samsung White are ahead. Here they go get their second Baron. Easy peasy. They'll take it in for the win. So I'll talk a little bit about the jungle. I don't often talk about that. It's actually quite boring in the World Championships. We see a lot of the same matchups. We don't see Jarvan too much, but we do see Kha'Zix all the time. And Kha'Zix versus Jarvan, Jarvan has the advantage early on, maybe to like level 5, maybe 7 at the latest, depending on how he's doing. He really needs to get his lanes going. He has to gank. He has to make things happen for his team. If he hasn't made anything happen by level 7, he's not really winning the jungle matchup, as Kha'Zix will be able to farm better, he'll scale up better into the later game, and when he gets his spiked rags, he really hits a huge jump in strength, especially for this Pokes team composition. So one of the big things Kha'Zix should be doing this matchup is protect top and just farm. His best gank is going to be if Maokai is pushed at top, then he can go and get the gank down the long lane and kill Maokai over time, because they're not going to burst him down. Other than that, there's not much other opportunity for Kha'Zix, so he should just farm. Jarvan, however, should really be looking for the ganks onto Maokai, ganks for Maokai onto Ryze, even Fizz onto Ziggs, and then whenever, of course, Kog'Maw's flash is down, go and kill him at level 6. And we see some way obliterate EDG. It's just what goes when they're this far ahead. And this is going to be the end of the game. Back to Jarvan in the jungle. He could probably, around level 4 or 5, go for a gank onto Kog'Maw after the wards go down from the trinkets, just to force out his flash, and then force the flash, leave, and then be prepared to come back. Lucky for him, the play was made by Maokai teleport, forcing Kog'Maw to flash. And that's this match. If you want to I hope you take away from this match is the vulnerability of poke comps and how much you really need to move into them quickly. You can't. The longer you wait to move into the siege portion of your composition, the more opportunities there are for the other team to shut you down. Poke and siege comps are ones that really need to start right away, and the best way to do this is doing lane swaps. Find the 2v1, take towers first, move around the map, and transition into your 5v5 early on. Level 8, level 9, level 8, level 9, around the 9-10 minute mark, maybe even the 7 or 8 minute mark early. You just have to get together and really recognize when the other team doesn't have the ability to stop you. And in this case, Samsung White had no wave clear. If EDG had forced that 2v1, moved into their 5v5 pokes really early, they could have kept Samsung White on the back foot. And while this does make money issues for EDG, as they're really only getting one lane, the same should be true of Samsung White. They should only be getting one lane, or maybe 1.5 lanes, because if they don't, EDG, or if they don't respond to EDG's 5-man push, they're just going to take towers really easily and keep their gold up from there. So you have to think about it as in terms of, yes, you're denying yourself by grouping early, but you're also denying the other team. And your hope is to make up the goal, is to get your gold advantage from turret gold, from objective gold, rather than from lane CS. Anyways, thank you for listening. I hope it was insightful, knowledgeable, or at least entertaining. And I'm Keith, aka LoLByTheNumbers, and thanks for watching.